Hi everyone, this will be a channeled message for you, for your highest good in this very safe and loving divine space. So please come on in and make yourselves nice and comfortable. So right away, the messages and the energies that are coming through in this reading are really quite dense, quite heavy. And there's this energy of a lot of review, kind of you maybe having certain scenarios or situations come back up in your life and you being able to see them possibly from a higher vantage point, or maybe just repeated cycles coming back up to be healed right now. But there's definitely an energy of this kind of life review, and I'll show you some of the cards that I pulled, and then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna pull some more, and I'll explain kind of what I'm seeing with these cards and why I'm really tapping into this energy of a life review. So first of all, for those of you who have never heard the term life review, this is something, and let me actually just take a step back here and give you kind of this note of warning, let's call it, or caution. I am not claiming whatsoever to have experienced this, because the life review is something that happens when we transition from the physical world to heaven, back to our spirit form. And so I have not personally experienced that in this lifetime yet, and so I cannot speak here from experience. I'm only speaking from my own mediumship training and my own just what I've read and what I've understood, and my own channeling as well. But if you're watching this channel, I'm assuming that you're kind of spiritually open, and perhaps you're even familiar with this process of life review. By the way, if you are more interested in the life review, which I will explain in more detail in a moment, one of the books that I'm reading right now is by Fraser, who's one of the world's best psychic mediums. And the book is called Don't Wait Until You Die, Don't Wait Until You Die. And this is all about the life review process. A lot of the information, actually, interestingly, is from what I've learned from him about the life review, and then also what I know about the Archangels, and like I said, in my mediumship training as well. So with all of that out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about what this life review is. Now, it is said that when you when you make the transition from the physical world into the spirit world, you go through what's known as a life review. So you're kind of met and you're being greeted by your loved ones who are already in heaven, by your spirit guides, by your guardian angels, your team of light, some of the archangels and angels, and your whole team of light meets you to help you start the transition. And by the way, this is often the reason, this happens right when a soul crosses over, transitions. And this process takes a while, this life review process, which again, I'll explain in a moment. But this is often the reason why loved ones don't come through, let's say in readings, in mediumship readings, for a few months, because there is a transition going back into heaven. And one of the first, let's call it tour stops on this transition back to our soul state, back to heaven, is the life review. Now, the life review is kind of what it sounds like. It's where we're sort of given the opportunity to look back on our life from birth until the moment we pass away. And we are shown from this higher perspective, right? Because, before you cross over, before you transition into heaven, you really need to let go of your baggage. I love the way that Fraser explains the process. He says it's kind of like going to the airport, passing through TSA. You leave all your liquids, all your heavy bags are checked in and not with you at the time. Any weapons, that's for sure, you leave behind. Anything that could be dangerous, you leave behind. You take off your belt, take everything out of your pockets, you unload it all, and you only take yourself through that security checkpoint. And that's kind of how it works with heaven as well. It's like, you need to release all of your baggage, because heaven, there's a lightness to it. And when souls cross over and they're in heaven, they're at peace. And in order to do that, there has to be a release of the baggage that we as humans carry in this physical world. And so a huge part of that life review process is forgiveness. And one of the ways to initiate the process of forgiveness is to be able to see things from this higher vantage point, this higher perspective, and to understand the perspectives of other people, right? Often situations where we blame others, or we hold resentments or anger toward other people, those are often, can be released when we understand things from their perspective. And so we go through this process, and I'm going to just show you the first two cards that we actually the first three cards, and I'll explain what it has to do with this life review process. So the first card that's coming out is from Kyle Gray's Gateway of Light Activation Oracle deck. And this card, I actually only pulled one card from that deck. It is the Halls of Amenti Initiation. And this card says, secrets revealed, treasures uncovered, initiations. And I'm not going to read the entire, card description, but in essence, and I will read a little bit here from the guidebook, but in essence, the Halls of Amenti, they're more of a energetic or spiritual kind of space that we can transport ourselves to. It's not like a physical location, although the location has been said to exist in the pyramids of Giza in Egypt. And there is kind of, this apparently, like, the energy of this is still in Egypt. So when you go to visit, you can sort of connect with that. But you definitely don't need to be in Egypt or go visit it physically to be taken to this space energetically. Okay, so this is if you look at even over here on the image, you have that black pillar and the white pillar, much like in the Justice card in the tarot as well. But those two pillars often represent, the darker pillar representing the physical world and the white pillar representing the spiritual world. And this kind of learning space is, and actually I just noticed there's like sort of a pyramid type shape here. So I'm assuming that's what it would represent. But right now it's almost like you're in between worlds, and that's where the learning happens, at least while you're on Earth. So like I said, this life review where we look back on each and every moment of our lives occurs when we're transitioning. But spaces like this Halls of Amenti and other, maybe even Shambhala or other sort of like metaphorical spiritual learning spaces, or just simply learning moments in our lives, occur all throughout our lives. We always have an opportunity to learn, to forgive, to move forward in some way. Of course, not as potent as we do at the end of our lives when we're transitioning and we see the whole life in review. But right now what I'm hearing is that you're in this liminal space, this space between worlds, where either something has resurfaced or maybe somebody, just something has happened, a situation has occurred in your life that's almost giving you this opportunity to release old baggage, to release old wounds. And in doing so, you're kind of being initiated into a higher perspective, just a higher energy, a higher frequency, right? When you tap into the energy of forgiveness, you're raising your vibration. When you're seeing and when you're kind of giving people grace, giving people mercy. And I'll show you the Archangels right now, actually, because the first one that came out is Jeremiel, and his name literally means mercy of God. So Jeremiel is the Archangel who governs forgiveness, who actually, he's the Archangel that takes us through the life review process, like the actual life review in heaven. But from an earthly perspective, he also helps us in these like mini life reviews, which is what I feel like you're going through. And then we have Metatron, and Archangel Metatron. This card says heaven to earth, and that's literally where you are right now. Like in this is, like I said, this in between two worlds space, and being given this opportunity to go through and release old heavy baggage and situations. But before I get into the Archangels, I do want to go back to this Halls of Amenti card and just read this small portion from the extended message, which I really feel represents what you're going through right now. So this is the message. It says, you are in a deep initiatory chamber at this time. You might feel that things are heavy and challenging, but know that a reconfiguration is happening. Energetically, you are going through an initiation that will allow you to go beyond the fears of the ego and transcend the limitations of the physical realm. You might not feel that light is present because you're in the middle of this phase at the moment, but know that it is present within you. You might be feeling frustrated or overwhelmed, but a lot of this anxiety is actually old energies that were stored in the depths of your body being released so that your vibration can rise. And that is exactly it. And now this brings us to Metatron, this specific card. So Archangel Metatron, oftentimes in life we kind of ask ourselves, like, what is the point of me going through this right now? Like, is this really necessary? We'll go through this tough situation. And this card, this particular Metatron, because Metatron I have in several other oracle decks, this card says your current situation is in alignment with your mission on Earth. And along with Jeremiel, these two cards together, and by the way, let me actually add to this as well that Metatron is the keeper of the Akashic records, which are another, some say metaphorical space, but it's a place that we can go to that has all of our life records from all previous incarnations, but our souls, like, you can almost think of it like a scribe. Like Metatron is like this scribe, and every single thing in our lives is recorded in these records. And that's the place where we will visit as part of our life review to go back and understand why certain things happened. And so it's almost like with Metatron and Jeremiel, and then this Halls of Amenti initiation card, all of these together are just showing me that there is something that you are either capable of reviewing right now, or something that is really maybe like gnawing at you and giving you a hard time, so to speak, and causing anxiety and overwhelm, but that's coming up right now because you have the opportunity to heal it. And I want to give maybe an example to help this a little bit. I watched the show Grey's Anatomy when it first came out, which I think was about maybe, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that. I mean, there are like 20 seasons, but the first episodes came out, I'm pretty sure, like maybe 20 years ago. And I remember being young, rushing home from school every Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, with my sister to watch. And I absolutely loved the show, and watched all the seasons. Well, fast forward to today, I just started watching it with my boyfriend again. Yes, I'm a person who can rewatch shows, but what's so interesting to see is that as we're going through the seasons now, he'll kind of look at me and he'll be like, what happens? Like, don't say anything. And I'll be like, I'll be totally honest. I don't know where my head was at. And it's just not relevant to me anymore. This was like 15, 20 years ago. I just don't really remember like what was happening in the show. And what's so interesting is that even with the things that I do know, I know this one and that one end up together or whatever, but I'm able to see things now, with my new perspective, with just who I've become today and the lens and the glasses that I have on at this moment that I never saw before in this show. And all of that has to just do with the lessons I've learned over that time, the maturity I've gained, the wisdom I've gained, all of that changes my perspective on this show. And so going through a life review process is kind of like that, but you're going through it not from the perspective of like a better you. You're going through it from the highest, holiest, most divine, loving, non-judgmental perspective, the perspective of you from your soul level with access to divine intelligence, divine wisdom, held in the space of all of your, angelic team of light and divine masters, and, just the highest perspective that you can imagine, this completely neutral and objective. And again, that justice image coming out, that objective perspective. And so that's what happens in the life review. Now, I think really what you're being asked here is, can you bring as much of that perspective as you possibly can down to heaven here, down on earth, and look at your current situation from that perspective. I have some more cards coming out as well. I have Quan coming out, and this is from the Keepers of the Light deck by Kyle Gray. Oh, and by the way, the two Archangels, Jeremiel and Metatron, those are from the 22 Archangels deck. Back to Keepers of the Light. Yes, so we have Quan coming out, as well as Lady Nada. Now, Quan is a bodhisattva. This card says care and compassion. Choose to be love. Do what is right for everyone involved. Offer a helping hand. And Quan is known to just be the ultimate level of compassion that you can imagine. And then we have Lady Nada, and this card, it's interesting, I almost just said this heart, because that's what she is. This card says heart awakening. Awaken to acceptance and divine love. Give and receive in balance. Like, wow, these two cards together just says it all to me. It's like you have this almost not harsh, but let's just call it realistic, right? And very eye-opening energy of this life review, right? We have Jeremiel taking personal responsibility, seeing things, for what they are, facing harsh lessons that might have really, really traumatized us in the past and having them come up again, along with Metatron, but knowing that this is something you're ready to go through right now. 1717 on the timer, as I was just saying that. We have those energies coming out along with, these two. It's like, I wish you could see all these cards. I don't know how to put them all here, but it's like you have these pretty direct and head-on, very, again, the word that's coming to mind is like realistic. It's like eye-opening energies of taking like a cold, hard look at what's really happening in your life right now, or what has happened for you to get up to this point, along with two of the most heart-centered, compassionate energies that can come out from Keepers of the Light. And the combination of those two is just really screaming this message of like, you can do this with a compassionate lens. Sorry, my hair was bothering me there. You could do this from, you can really hold yourself with care and compassion during whatever is happening in your life. And I do feel there's a situation that's coming up that is, I just heard the words blinding you, or maybe once blinded you, but it's like you can't be blinded by it anymore. It's right there, it's right in front of you, and it is what it is. Now, there's this term in spiritual communities, or just in general, and it's called spiritual bypassing. And spiritual bypassing is when, and I have previously absolutely been guilty of this myself, but it's something that I really try to avoid right now. But it's basically when you kind of blame, let's say Mercury retrograde on like everything that's happening in your life, or, just some sort of kind of more spiritual, esoteric confirmation hiccup reason for the harsh realities. And there's such a delicate dance between the two, because on one hand, it's like, part of being spiritual is seeing with this forgiving lens and being able to kind of hold care and compassion for people and to tap into this energy of unconditional love. Yet at the same time, we hold these very stark and juxtaposing energies of, needing to put up boundaries, needing to see the truth for whatever it is and accept it. And it's like, those two often can seemingly not work simultaneously because there's such a polarity. But the thing is, being spiritual, there's literally this dove circling outside my window right now in my backyard. This is wild. It was just like doing circles and flying and floating. That's amazing. But it's like, you know, we often consider spiritual people to be like world peace, love, only love, and people who might sometimes shield out like the truth of the situation. However, real spirituality, real true spirituality is being able to be more objective and to, you know, not blame or shame people, but at the same time to see things for what they are and take action based on that. And boundaries is really the example that's coming up for me. It's like, you know, there are always two sides of the coin. A boundary is really hard to do because we don't, you know, want to hurt people. We don't want to hurt their feelings. We want to be kind. And, you know, people don't like when we put up boundaries. But it's always like with a boundary, with that example in particular, you know, putting up a boundary is the loving thing to do to ourselves. So there's always these two sides of the same coin. It's like, yes, you might hurt somebody else, but at least you're not going to betray yourself. And if you don't put up the boundary, I'm just laughing at this dove is like circling around. It's so beautiful. But I really feel that this is a spiritually connected message with that dove circling around. But you know, it's like putting up that boundary. If we don't do it, it is an act of self-betrayal. And it causes us to create this resentment, this anger inside, where we secretly hold this bitterness because we're so angry with ourselves for allowing others to treat us in a way that we don't find appropriate. And so what a boundary is, it's not like, supposed to be a threat or something mean or whatever. I mean, a boundary in particular is just like a fence, right? Imagine a fence around your property. It just shows people this is where what I will and what I won't accept, right? Like, this is my space. This is what I deem appropriate or respectful or whatever. And, you know, I ask you kindly, politely at first, of course, to oblige by my personal code of conduct. And if you don't, right, that's the boundary. This part is the boundary. Up until then, you're basically just setting your own code of conduct. But if you don't, I will not speak to you. I will end this relationship, whatever that boundary is. And it is now up to the other person to decide what they're going to do. They have absolute free will to do that. But it is your responsibility as somebody who set the boundary to, act accordingly. And I hope that made sense in this context. I don't know, I didn't plan to speak about boundaries for so long, or at all actually, but that seemed to come through. So I think that part of this, life review, this on-earth life review, I guess we can call it, is I really feel like you're almost being asked or given the opportunity to set some clearer boundaries now. And I just want to go over, I got a couple more cards coming out, then I'm going to put them back in the decks and reshuffle, and I just want to pull a few more. But from the Angel Guide deck over here, and I was really called to include this deck as well because this is about our guardian angels, and those are the angels that have been with us for our entire lives, right? And so they know everything that has led us up to this point. They're very valuable and helpful and great to call on during, this life on earth life review moment. I don't know what else to call it. This like earthly life review opportunity that we're getting. But the cards I got are, first one is Courage and Bravery. And as I'm actually looking at this card and seeing that shield and that armor that this figure on the card is holding up, I'm really connecting it to that idea of boundaries. Along with the Signs and Reminder card from this deck. Now, Signs and Reminder, of course, with the butterflies. Oh my gosh, wait. And the birds and the dove. That's awesome. That's so good. And the feather, of course. But these are all typical reminders and signs that we get from loved ones. And so all of that combined, I'm of course getting this real energy that we are getting these flashes of insight, these divine knowing, these psychic insights, and these kind of heavenly divine downloads about our situation in particular, because we kind of know like what the right thing to do is with whatever it is you're going through at this moment. And so I hope that made sense. I wanted to show you something else really interesting. So some of you guys know my little fascination, it's not that little, with notebooks. I journal a lot, I write a lot of things down, oftentimes just to get them out of my head and my physical energetic space. And I told the story in a previous video of mine, so I won't tell it again as long. I'll try to shorten it a little bit. But you know, there was one evening where my boyfriend was heading to the grocery store and he asked me if I needed anything. And I realized at that moment that I was about to finish my current notebook, which is quite an urgent matter for me if I don't have like a notebook or somewhere to jot ideas and things down. And so I asked him if he could please get me a new notebook. And I, you know, highlighted the fact that I would like it to be cute, and he knows my style. And so he came home with these two notebooks, and one of them, and I showed this in a previous message, said something along the lines of like, take it slow, you know, embrace your own pace. And I was like, like I did not like that message. I'm not a person who likes to rest and relax and take it slow, and I've had a real karmic energy with always needing to be useful, to be busy, to be doing things in my life. And so that notebook, I was laughing because it just brought forth these feelings of how much, you know, the word slow, take it slow, triggered me. So I've already finished that notebook as of today. And I pulled out the second notebook that he got for me, and I was just laughing because I'm about to start this new notebook today, and the message is so fitting for this video. Like I haven't even written anything in this notebook yet because I literally just started it as I sat down. I wrote my last notes in the previous notebook and flipped over, you know, this new one. And I was so, I was just laughing and kind of like laughing at the irony of the message on this book and how fitting it is. And the message says, maybe you guys can see it, I don't know if you're able to see it with the light, but it says, give yourself some credit for how far you've come. And then the and then the back of it says, reflect on your journey and celebrate your progress. And how fitting is that right now? And it's such a completely different message, as you guys can see from the other notebooks. So the fact that it was so fitting for what this whole message here is about, it's like, yes, you are being asked to see things in this earthly life review. Again, we'll just keep calling it that, from this higher vantage point, very objectively, very with a sense of justice, of black and white, with these archangels who have really just only know how to see truth, right? But not only are you being asked to sort of look at your interactions with others and be objective and kind of review them in an objective way, but you're also being asked, again, with the Quan Yin and Lady Nada cards coming out, these very compassionate figures, you are being asked to look at yourself and possibly even others in whatever situations you're reviewing now, with this lens of compassion, to really like go back and look at yourself from a year ago, from a few months ago, from 5 or 10 years ago, and just think, wow, I've really grown. Like basically exactly what this notebook says. Like, give yourself some credit for how far you've come. 3:33 on the clock as I'm saying that. That's amazing. But to give yourself some credit for how far you've come up until this point. And so that's another really important aspect of this life review, or this earthly life review that you're given an opportunity to go through right now. And with all of that combined, it's like, it's really important right now. You know, as I'm filming this, we're having a full moon right now. We're in the thick of it. But the full moon, just metaphorically really illuminates and brings to the light things that were once in the dark, right? Things that were in the shadows. And I do feel that there is a connection. And, whenever you're watching this message is definitely timeless. Could be closer toward another full moon, but there is this energy of things just being brought forth, brought to the light for you to review and then make further decisions, better decisions going forward. One of those decisions can be to give yourself more credit, to respect how far you've come, to encourage yourself a little bit more. Another one of those decisions might be to recognize that some people, not everybody, has your best interest at heart. Doesn't mean you have to, declare that those people are horrible people. It just means that it might be the most loving act of kindness for you to do for yourself right now to create some boundaries. Another thing that might come up as you're reviewing your life is, hey, you know what? There's no need for me to run myself to the ground. It's okay for me to rest. I've done so many things, this. And, I just keep hearing this title of Matt Fraser's book, Don't Wait Until You're Dead. And that's the thing here, you're really being given this opportunity. This might even come in the form of like you being given some time off from work, or having to take a little vacation, or just having actual physical time right now, or just this moment of solitude, of oh my gosh, and now there's an eagle literally flying. Although I will say this eagle does fly outside my window around this time, but he's like showing off right now. I see everything in a reading as a sign. So like everything that flies by, that's why I'm constantly scanning my eyes. Everything that comes to me like in my mind's eye, whatever I'm hearing, everything is coming into me at once as I channel this to you. But the point is, it's like you almost have this period of time, I'm talking physically right now, this moment to take a breath. And if you don't, then you're really being asked to create this. But for some of you, I'm hearing that you might actually, coincidentally have just a little moment to just review some things, and that this is exactly what that moment is for. Again, with this Metatron card coming up, which says in this particular deck only, because my other Metatron cards say other things, but this card is saying that your current situation is in alignment with your mission on Earth. It's like whatever you're going through, although it may seem irrelevant, you're being asked not to spiritually bypass it, but to really embrace it and understand that whatever is coming up right now is actually quite important for you to continue your mission here on Earth and continue your alignment and raising your vibration here on Earth with whatever soul contracts you decided on before you came into this life. Okay, so with that said, I would like to go ahead and just get some more help for us, some more support and guidance with this situation that's coming up to be reviewed. So I'm just right now putting these cards back. Ooh. And what I've done here is I've actually combined two decks. It's called the Mega Deck when you do it like this. But it is the 22 Archangel cards, and I've just added those into the Angel Guide deck. And so we have, whatever, 70 cards, something like that, or nearly 70 all together here. And I've mixed them up. Hold up, I'm just putting Metatron and it's funny, I was gonna say Jophiel, I wonder if she'll come out. Metatron and Jeremiel back in the deck, okay? So now we have this deck that has the two different decks in it, all together as a mega deck. And what we're gonna do is we're going to ask the Archangels. This deck for me today is representing your team of light, which consists of Archangels and Guardian Angels and Divine Masters. Trust me, I would mix those in here too if I could. But I am not able at this point in my life to shuffle that effectively. But I'm just going to mix all of these together. And we're going to ask for some help here with this situation that's coming up to be reviewed right now, okay? So let's go ahead and let's get you guys, let's just ask first what our, oh, wow. Okay, these flew out. Oh, wow. Okay. So 2 of these just fell literally into my lap. Metatron came out again, as well as Azrael. You guys, Azrael. And how interesting, because this happened last time I mixed the 2 decks. 2 archangels came out of, considering the majority of these cards, or double the amount of cards from, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying, from this 45 card deck, the angel guide deck, whereas only 22 of the cards from the 22 archangels are in here. So 22 versus 45, and we had 2 archangels coming out. I don't know if that made sense. I pray it did. But we have Azrael. So Azrael literally is the archangel, and I was surprised he didn't come out earlier with Jeremiel and Metatron, but here he is now. So he's the angel that actually takes us and brings us through the transition from the physical world to this. I apologize, you guys. My phone is running out of storage, so it will often stop me. So please forgive me. But I'm just gonna pick right back up. We're talking about Azrael and Metatron just came out of this mega deck. And I was starting to say that Azrael is the archangel who actually takes us, and some call him the angel of death, but he's more so the angel of death and rebirth, or the archangel rather. And he really represents this energy of phoenix rising, which is so beautiful. And it's not that he does help us with the transition into actual death, so back to heaven. And so he is the archangel that will take us and bring our souls, and as we start our transition process, which then goes into the life review as we've been discussing this video. But he is also the archangel who can do a couple of things. Number one, he can help us transition through any life circumstances that we're going through. So this whole idea, this whole energy of this very video where we're talking about this on Earth in, life review, this little mini life review moment that we're, being given the opportunity to go through. He's the archangel that can help us transition through that, to help us feel reborn. And as I'm actually, staring at this card, it's one of the most gorgeous, gentle, kind cards in this deck. I feel so at ease and peaceful when I stare into the eyes of this archangel in this very deck. But that's the energy of Azrael in general. He is a very graceful, very, his energy will help put us at ease. And, the message with Azrael in our context here is that whatever transition we're going through right now, whatever is coming back up, he can really help us gracefully navigate that. He can really help us have this life review on Earth where we're able to, just ascend and get to the next level and leave behind the baggage of the past that has been weighing us down in whatever situations are coming up for our review right now, for our to be reviewed. And then I will read Metatron because obviously there's kind of a deeper message with him coming out again. But let me first, the messages from this Archangel deck are quite short, so I am feeling called to actually read both of these, and then we'll wrap it up for today. But let's go ahead, let's start with Azrael. And again, these 2 cards are both from the 22 Archangels deck by Kyle Gray. So Azrael's card, it says Transcendence. And the message is, you wouldn't be who you are without what you have overcome. Own your story. And Azrael's name means helped by God. He is the archangel who guides us through the process of transition. Exactly. His energy is like that of a phoenix, and he helps us rise from the ashes of our challenges to be reborn and renewed. Exactly. Azrael can also help lead souls of the departed to heaven, and for that reason is known to have a powerful connection with anyone who has the gift of mediumship. Interesting, because we were just talking about Matt Fraser's book, and I was telling you guys about my mediumship training, so maybe there's something here as well with you being able to connect to your loved ones in heaven, or even on a grander scale, you might be kind of practicing mediumship yourself, and this would be a huge sign that you're kind of successfully connecting to spirits who have crossed trust overnight. You're able to be that medium. He can be called upon by anyone who needs support in moving gracefully through times of change. And this is the message. You are going through some changes right now, and you may not be enjoying them exactly, but please be rest assured that you are being led to your highest good. Change is a natural process, and we are constantly moving through different levels of development and experience so we can grow. You may be faced with fear and uncertainty, not knowing what the next stage is, but there are plenty of doors opening and opportunities being presented to you. Trust in yourself and your higher power. In order for you to come into alignment with this stage of your journey, here we go. It's important to take some time to reflect, aka review, upon the challenges you have surmounted. Not everything on your journey has been favorable, but you wouldn't be who you are today without the lessons you have learned. Realize that you have an incredible resilience that helps you tap into the infinite potential you hold within. Yeah, there's nothing else for me to add to that message. It's so clear. Let me go ahead. I'm going to leave you off with the description of Metatron from this guidebook. And the message is in here, but the message is really coming together quite clearly, especially with Metatron coming out again. But this is the message. So again, Metatron's card says heaven to earth, and the message on the card says your current situation is in alignment with your mission on earth. So Metatron, the throne next to God, that's what his name means, is said to be one of the youngest of the archangels alongside his twin brother Sandalphon. Kabbalistic texts support the idea that he once lived upon the earth as Enoch, who was a prophet and the great-grandfather of Noah. As an angel, Metatron is guiding this age. This powerful archangel governs the sacred sciences, helps us understand the interconnectedness of all things. That's huge here for us right now, and is supporting us as we enter an age of awareness and growth. And this is the message. When Metatron comes to you, it's because you are a part of a powerful shift that is unfolding on earth during your lifetime. So proceed, keep going, and don't give up. This is a sacred bridge of light between heaven and earth, and that bridge is you. Your life hasn't happened by chance or accident. You have been chosen. Oof. The divine has recruited you to fulfill a great mission that will bring healing and change to planet Earth. You might feel you're on a roller coaster and be unsure if you should continue or not, but there's a karmic alignment, occurring, and therefore what you are facing and pushing through now is absolutely in alignment with your mission. Energetically, there is a cleanup process unfolding, so it might be messy, so it might feel a little bit messy or overwhelming. Yeah, just a little. But trust that you are on the right path and your angel team is supporting you and your mission. If you are ready to take the next step on your spiritual path, let the angels know loud and clear, and they will begin to lead the way like a spiritual GPS from within. You have a calling. Respond. The earth needs you. Whew, that's the message, you guys. I'm so happy that I imagine this is why Metatron came out again, because the angels and archangels and my guides knew that I would read. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm now getting phone calls and my phone just keeps stopping me with these messages. So I'm going to take that hint from heaven and leave you guys off and kind of close out this message. But what I was going to say before the video cut out is that I'm really happy that I read this message about Metatron twice, or that it came out twice so that I read it from the guidebook, because the whole part about you being on a mission is so important to this, and I think it's what's going to keep you going. And I personally, with these messages, it often mirrors things that are happening in my life as well, and so I can tell you that I needed to hear that message from the Metatron card as well. But I will not overstay my welcome any longer. It seems that my phone keeps cutting out and I'm being kicked out of here off stage. So with that in mind, you guys, thank you so much for watching my video. And until next time, and I am so grateful for you. Bye, thank you.